So guys, let's talk about what we're going to need to fix this lentil and eggplant stew. The first thing we're going to need, as usual, we'll need an onion. I have one onion here. This is a medium-sized onion, so a medium-sized onion would do. I have a half of green bell pepper and also a quart of red bell pepper. You can use a whole one. I'm using this because it's what I have in my fridge. We're gonna need garlic. You'll need about two pieces of garlic, 2 to 3 pieces of garlic. Get yourself a piece of ginger. Also get a pepper. It could be a red pepper or a green pepper. I'm going to use the red pepper because we want this to, just for the look of it. So get a red pepper. If you have a green one, you can use the green pepper. You're going to need 2 eggplants. Get a bunch of cilantro. I have 2 different type of greens. I have the curly greens. I guess this is the mustard. I don't know if it's mustard or collard. This is collard greens, and this is kale. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I have collard and kale. You could get any greens you want. You don't even have to get the greens. You could actually get spinach. What we want to do is make sure we including greens into this dish. And you want to get 1 carrot. You can get 2 carrots because I have a large carrot. We're going to need 2 yams. And so that'll be everything pertaining to the vegetables and the aromatics. And also, if you could find yourself an avocado. Also, we'll need, and that's everything with the veggies. You're going to need chicken stock. You all know how I am about the base, which is the foundation of any type of good, flavorful stew, soup, gumbo. Chicken stock. Get yourself some chicken stock. So, also, if you can, get some, you can get, if you want broccoli, I have Brussels sprouts, any type of green you want, because once we make this stew, I want to give you the option to morph it into a Buddha bowl if you like. So you can get any type of side green items that you, as far as if you want asparagus, that'll be something good. If you want to steam you some green beans, whatever green that you like, that you would like to add, that's fit your taste, then get that. I have Brussels sprouts. I have a half a bag, so I said I'll use my Brussels sprouts. Also, I have quinoa. If you want to use brown rice, use the brown rice, but I really want to introduce you to quinoa because this is a very healthy, it's a seed. So try to start incorporating quinoa into your diet because it can take the place of rice. That's why I started using quinoa, and as I started using it and cooking it different ways, it really has become a replacement. And that's what my channel is about, to expose you to different type of foods that you can use that you can replace. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with rice, but white rice, it's sugar eventually. So yeah, see if you can incorporate this into your diet. So try it. If you want to stick with the brown rice, stick with the brown rice, or if you want to stick with the white rice, you can do the white rice. It depends on how much you're eating the rice. As I stated earlier, in New Orleans, rice is a staple for us, so we eat a lot of white rice. So for me, it was important that I find a substitute where I won't have to always eat white rice. And if I go to eat at someone's house, of course they're going to have white rice with their meals, if it's red beans or if it's gumbo. My mom's cooking gumbo next week, so I know she's going to have white rice. So that's one reason why I chose to kind of put this into my my eating regimen, because I want to kind of reduce always having to eat white rice. So when I make dishes, I would try to include this. For instance, if I wasn't aware of quinoa, or brown rice, I will be eating white rice with this dish, because it's very good with this dish. So this, you're gonna need 2 cans of chickpeas. You're gonna need a can of tomatoes. You can get the whole tomatoes. You can get diced tomatoes, but you're gonna need a can of tomatoes. And this is the 28-ounce can. So get this size. And you're also gonna need some red lentils. We may need about a cup or 2. So get your red lentils. You're gonna need some turmeric. I'm not gonna push that you use the turmeric. I adding turmeric because any opportunity that I have that I can include turmeric in a dish, I am going to use it because of the health benefits of turmeric. And if you're going to use turmeric, you need to use black pepper because it actually brings out the flavor of it. I'm not going to use allspice, but here's why I'm stating to use the allspice, because I'm using Garam Masala, and I've used this before when I cooked it's more of a Middle Eastern type of dish, and this flavor is so good, and I like the warmth that it gives this dish in other dishes that I've used with Garam Masala. So see if you can find this, and if you don't have to use it, actually you can use cinnamon if you want, just to give it that flavor profile, but it won't be like using this. So this is what I'm using for mine. I also have a couple of cloves as well. If you have cloves, maybe you had it for Thanksgiving, just still a few left or in your pantry, you can use a clove and cinnamon. You will need cumin seeds, so see if you can get some cumin seeds. I know there's a lot of different ingredients that some of you may never cooked with. That's the purpose of this channel, to expose you to different types of spices, different types of seeds, different type of aromatics, so you can include that into your diet, and just to get different flavors, because you want to start expanding your palate so that you can get more plants on the plate in different ways and different cooking techniques, so you can just kind of play with these flavors and see what you can come up with, because that's what I do. I just play with different type of foods, cooking things one way with a different dish, and this I would infuse them into a dish that I want to create. So, oh, did I mention also we're gonna need coconut milk? So I'm gonna put all of these ingredients in the description, of course, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna clean up all the vegetables, get those clean, and begin chopping those. But what you wanna do, we're gonna roast the sweet potatoes. I find that when you roast them first, it just gives it an extra flavor in the dish, and also I like to add a little bit of different spices on the sweet potatoes. So let me just say this now. Once we cut up the sweet potatoes, we're gonna add paprika on the sweet potatoes, salt and pepper, and then okay, I'm not gonna add the chili powder. So we're just gonna do the salt, no pepper, and we're gonna do salt and paprika. That'll be the only 2 things that we have, and we'll roast these. But I'll take you through all of that. So yeah, get your grocery list together and get started on gathering up the things that you would need. And just to make sure, I did mention eggplants, right? Because you'll need 2 of those. So I'll go ahead and get started doing the prep. I'll get back with you and we'll start cooking this dish. I just need to wash my hands because I went into my cabinet to get the salt. And I just wanted to add this tip and take a pause. Yes, I put salt on the eggplant because it's said that when you put salt on it, it draws out whatever that bitter taste is. And so I put that on there. I'm gonna let that sit for a while, and I'm gonna go ahead and take a pause so the salt can do what it's gonna do with the eggplant, and we'll follow up. When we follow up, our potatoes should be good, our sweet potatoes should be good, and our Brussels sprouts should be pretty much charred. I'll take those out for you all to see, and we'll put those to the side, and we'll just move on from there. So guys, I'm back. Our sweet potatoes and Brussels sprouts are done. Let me see if I can let you see them. Now I'm also warming up the pot so we can get our seasoning in. Here's how they look. Texture is really good, guys. See, and I didn't overdo it with my Brussels sprouts. It's a biggie with my mom. So yeah, I'm letting the pot warm up. We're gonna put the onions, get the onions and carrots going. Turn it on low. Get you a little olive oil in there. Well, actually, don't turn it on low. Turn it up to the point where you can get your oil hot and starting to cook. And you can see the eggplant still going. What I've done, I've chopped up the greens. I've left the pepper there. Also, I measured out the lentils. And it's 1.5 cups. Now we may only need a cup, but 1.5 cups is what I have in the jar. I'm gonna rinse these out because you don't have to soak lentils because they're so tiny. But we are gonna rinse them because I bought these from the Whole Foods store in that little loose canister, so we need to clean these up. Also, I opened up my cans so that we're ready once everything starts cooking and fusing in. And check your nutritional facts. I told you all that on the can, so we're pretty good. We got 25 calories on the tomatoes, 120 on the chickpeas, and 60 on the coconut milk. That's not bad at all. So I'm gonna get the lentils cleaned off. Also, you want to drain your beans. I have a strainer here to do that. You want to drain the beans and you want to rinse them off. And once we have that done, the oil should be ready and we can move into doing that. That way we won't have to stop and keep doing extra steps because we still have our quinoa to prepare. So I'm going to get this going, and then I'll get the onions and the garlic, and also I cut up the ginger as well. Let's see if you can see that. And I measured it, and it's a teaspoon, exact teaspoon. So I did good. Okay, so I'll get started on getting that done. You can start doing your prep as well, and then we can get this together as the pot is getting warm. Okay guys, so the oil is cooking and I see my battery's going to die in a moment. So we're gonna start with the cumin seed. These are whole cumin seeds. So we're gonna grab, this is 1/2 teaspoon. Yeah, 1/2 teaspoon, yeah. I like that. I'm measuring, I'm doing better. So you want to put in 1/2 teaspoon, and you're gonna allow that to just cook. And you want it to flavor the oil, so allow that to cook and flavor up your oil. And then we want to add our, once you see, it's almost, if it start popping like a little popcorn pop, then you want to add your onions, carrot, and bell pepper. Get that in and let it start cooking. And once that cooks, so guys, my cumin seeds heated through. You don't need them to pop because they're not going to pop, but you'll see them as they begin to turn. You don't want them to turn black. So I added my peppers, onions, and carrots. I add them all together because I feel like the texture of all three of these are okay when it comes to cooking. And as I told you, we're just going to, I like to put the salt on, so we're going to put the salt on and let it cook for a couple of minutes. This, you know, when it's sauteed, and after we'll add the garlic and the ginger. So let's let that cook for a moment, and then we'll add the garlic and the ginger. Garlic to burn, and you don't want your ginger to burn either, and it won't because the other vegetable will have so much water in it. So, and we put those in first, so it won't. So now at this point, I'm gonna add the turmeric. I don't know how to do a measurement. Let me take this top off so I can measure for you all. Let's see. This is a half a teaspoon, and I think this is how much I want to use. Yeah, I think this will be perfect. We're gonna go with a half a teaspoon of turmeric. See, you guys are motivating me as well because I never measure anything. So you're making me measure. And now I want to grab the pepper one moment. I'm not going to measure the pepper. I'm just going to give it a good shake over. So. Add the eggplant. I'm really trying to get the veggies on top of the eggplant so the eggplant can actually be at the bottom of the pot so that it can actually cook and get more of the heat on it, if that's possible. Yeah. So I'm gonna give this a nice cook for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'll check it and I'll get back with you all once I see how it's turning out. So let me let this cook for about 15 minutes and I'll get back to you all. So guys, this is what I want you to see, how the eggplant, I'm allowing it to cook before I add the liquids, and I wanted to just cook it down myself before it began to stew in the liquid. So it has cooked enough for me, and now I am ready to add the Garam Masala, and you don't need to add a lot of this. Now I know many of you may not have this. It took me a while to find it again, especially during COVID. But I usually get it in this small size because that's the size that is sold in. And there's probably a larger size, but it's not like I cook it often and it comes in a packet like this. Let me tell you what the ingredients are. Coriander, cinnamon, fennel, cumin, black pepper, cardamom, and cloves. That's why I told you you can use the cinnamon, and if you have cloves. Some of you may have cumin because cumin has become a popular spice now and a lot of people have it. So if you have a ground cinnamon and cumin and maybe you have cloves, you could pull it up. And I have cardamom. I don't know if you all will have this because it's not used a lot. Or now if you have allspice, you can make this dish your own and just use the allspice in it and just see how it turns out for you. Also, well, let me add this and I'll show you that I prepped the others. So I'm just gonna put a little of this in because this goes a long way. So I probably put in about a half a teaspoon of this. And I would say about 3/4 of a teaspoon is what I put in. So I'm just gonna mix this up because I wanna make sure this Garam Masala gets in everything. I'm gonna tell you, please try to find you some Garam Masala because boy, it takes that, it gives you that exotic taste. You know how you go to a restaurant and you trying to mimic the taste and you, as I stated, try to put all your ingredients together to get it. Boy, that Garam Masala may put you right into an Indian restaurant and gives you that flavor. Another reason why I venture out and do these different recipes because I love eating at different international restaurants. I love trying different foods, so of course I'm gonna try to make them. And that's just the key with, you know, eating healthy or trying to venture out is try different foods and go into different eat with different ethnicities and see, just learn different techniques about their food, and then you'll be able to expand your you know, your cooking catalog. So I'm going to add the crushed tomatoes. And make sure you always lower your pot in. And I'm gonna turn my pot up a little bit. Get that incorporated in. And you really don't have to wait after you add your tomatoes. You can just start putting everything in. I'm going to add my beans, chickpeas, at least. And at this point you want to just let it cook. And I'm going to add the chicken stock as well. What I'm not going to add is the sweet potatoes. And I'm not going to add the coconut milk just yet. As you can see, we don't have any liquid, so add the chicken stock. I'm gonna get that fat up. Actually, I'm gonna add my beans before I add the chicken stock. I don't know if I'm gonna add all of these because this may be too many. So, and I try to let mine dry out because, you know, we rinsed them earlier, but I like them to dry out. Don't ask me why. It just feel like they're real beans when they dried. I don't like them damp. So that's why you see them clumping together, because when I rinsed them off, they were all just bundled together. So this is probably a cup that I've put in because I felt like a cup and a half would be too much. Let me lower this down if I can. So guys, here's what we're looking at. I think it's been almost about 30 or 40 minutes. I added cloves to mine because it was a little bit flat, so I wanted to add. I added 2 cloves. Also, I added the coconut milk. I just added the coconut milk about 5 minutes ago, but I added the cloves about 25 minutes ago. I also added a tablespoonful of cumin, and I added more garam masala after I added the coconut milk. So on each stage I added the garam masala. So altogether we have like 3 tablespoons of the garam masala in there. So guys, here's how we are looking. I'm adding the greens in just in small portions because I don't want it to be greens stew. I just want some greens in there, and the flavor is on the money. Just to let you know, I did add more water, probably like a cup and a half. Here's my issue where I felt like I made a fault. I should have used a bigger pot. This pot is not big enough for me, because what I want, this is how I want the consistency to be. Let me turn the spoon this way. I want the consistency to. So guys, here's the finished result. Here's the texture. And this is the texture that I wanted. I had to doctor it up by adding water, which means that I had to adjust the flavors. So I went in and added more cumin. So I'm gonna give you the measurements for the cumin you would need. Also, I tasted it after I added the cumin, let it cook a little bit more, and this was missing something to me. It just didn't have that finished taste as if I brought this from a restaurant, and I had to have that taste. So I brought in a Top Gun curry powder. Let me tell you, when I put this curry powder in there, I said, give me the check, because that was the taste that I wanted. I wanted to have that taste as if I was in a restaurant, at an Indian restaurant, and someone brought this over to my table, and this is it. That's the taste that I want. I also added more peppers as well, and I did add the seed because, again, I said it doesn't taste like it tastes when I'm at a restaurant, and I have to have it the way that it would be if I was in a restaurant. Not that I ordered this specific thing, but you know when you get different curries in a restaurant, how they have that flavor of just the right amount of heat, just the right amount of that exotic flavor, that warmth, and that comes on the back of your throat. All of that is the flavors that I want. And I know when I put my lime in here, when I put my cilantro on top, that's just going to take it to another level. And also I'm going to cut up more of the peppers, because you know when you're getting curry, they always have a little bit of the red peppers there. So what my suggestion would be, or what I would do different cooking this in this pot, I didn't cook it in this pot the first time when I made this. I did a cup and a half of the red lentils. In this pot, it should only be a cup. So you all can see the size of this pot. And what's that? This is a 6-quart pot. I should have used 1 cup of lentils. That way I wouldn't have had to have kept playing with the water. So next time I'll know I'm just going to do 1 cup of lentils. And you have to think about it also. We have eggplants in here. We have chickpeas in here. Sweet potatoes in here. So you have a lot of things that's kind of absorbing the water. And yeah, so all of that chicken stock and the water that I have, that liquid is being pulled. So I have it where I want to, so I'm good with that. Let me show you what we're moving to now. We have to make our quinoa, so you don't have to make this much. Again, I have a cup, And that's because I'm sharing my meal with others, so that's how much I will be using. And also the greens, I cut up a lot of the collard greens and the kale, but as you can see, I did not use that much, and I recommend that you don't use that as much as well. Maybe 2 handfuls is what you can use, and I'm gonna save this because I will use this on my smoothie. So we're gonna start with the quinoa. What we need to do is, I like to wash mine and then let it dry, and then I kind of toast it, and then I get it in the then I start cooking it. So let me grab my phone and we'll get started. Okay guys, so we are back. We're gonna start on cooking our quinoa. I've washed it and I have my saucepan. It's already pretty much heated. You want it heated up because we want to toast these the quinoa, and this is the tri color. Oops. Okay, there was a little leakage, so I didn't want anything to spill because I did wash it. So we're just gonna get that and dry them out. That's what we want to do. We're really not roasting them. I just call it drying them out because I washed them. So, and I like drying them out or roasting, whatever you want to call it. And it could just be in my head, but I just feel like the texture comes out better when I cook it this way. And you don't have to do this for a long time. And what I do when I'm putting in, I have a measuring cup with water, but I have it as 2/3 of a cup. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to use all of that. I just put some bottled water in my measuring cup so I could be ready when it starts to dry out. Then I don't cover it. I just let it cook a little while till I feel like it's dried out. And then I'm going to put the water in and put the top over it and just let it cook as if it was rice, but this is much easier than rice. So yeah, as I was saying, you want to make sure the top of it is covered just with maybe about this much on your finger. Not much at all. You really can't mess this up. So I want to cover it, and you're just going to let it cook and check it in about 5 minutes, and you're just going to fluff it up. So I'm going to go ahead and let it cook for 5 minutes, and we'll come back and look at it. And there's one extra thing that I'm going to show you that we're going to do to add to this meal to kind of elevate it and make it really give it that international feel. Okay guys, as you can see, the water has evaporated, and look, it just dried it out, so it's ready now. It's nice and fluffy, and you don't have to try to flavor this because I eat this with food that's flavorful, so it's serving as a rice. So this eggplant red lentil stew is so flavorful. You don't need to add salt or anything to this. We're eating this for health purposes, not for taste. So this is fine. And as I stated, 5 minutes, that's all. And you can hear it moving, so you know it's dry, you know it's fluffy, you know it's cooked through, and it's ready to eat. So that's done. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna move this off of this eye, and I told you I just want to elevate this dish, and the way I would do that is with naan bread. I don't know if you all ever heard of this before, but I'm sure many of you have. I just put my naan bread on my eye and warm it through. And sometimes it blisters up, which is give it a good texture, and also that blister adds flavor to it. So we're going to use this as our bread, and I have olive oil, but I don't put that on until I give it one turn because I don't want that olive oil back on my eye. And also, not something in a larger size than this. I just like the small ones because a lot of times I probably will keep them in my refrigerator a long time. So as you see, it's starting to smoke, which is good. And let me turn it down because you don't want it this, but it's really good. You can see how soft it is. I left it on the eye too long, but we'll do another one just so you can get an idea. But even this charred, it will be really good. You see how it's blistering up? And you could just put it to the side and put olive oil on it. That's what I do. While it's really hot, just throw some olive oil on it and cut it into like four triangles and put it on the side of your meal. So that's one down, and turn it. I turned the eye down because the other one got way too hot. And you just can keep flipping it. Usually I use my thongs to do it. And as you can see, cooks it really quickly. So, and I know I'm not going to turn this one over again, so I'll just put the olive oil on it. And also you can use your garlic, that zester, and zest garlic on here. I do that a lot with it, but again, because this meal is so flavorful, it's no need to do it. So, and that's it. And it's real hot, so I just store it up here, and that's it, guys. So I'm gonna plate this up so you can see the full meal. Also, I've chopped up some of the condiments. I chopped up the rest of that red chili. I chopped up the cilantro that we didn't use. That's another thing also. You don't have to put greens in the dish. I chose to put greens in it because I had a lot of greens, and I always try to just add greens wherever I can. If I didn't have the greens, I just would put the cilantro in it. And not only that, it's winter and I wanted something very hearty and more of a comfort meal style. So that's why I intentionally said I wanted to put the greens in. But you really don't have to put the greens in because this meal is more conducive for cilantro. Additionally, I didn't tell you all about the lime, but you want to add the lime because, again, you want to keep elevating the flavor of this dish with the lime, the cilantro, and the red peppers. We're going to put that on after we plate it up, and that's just going to take the dish to a different level. And also we have our naan bread. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything plated up, and I'll see you then. Hi motivated people, it's Karen the Motivator, a woman of a certain age, here to serve people of all ages. Welcome back to my channel. It's my second cooking segment and it's still cold. So I decided to do an eggplant and lentil stew. This is such a hearty, comforting meal, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Now, it is a lot of ingredients, but since we all stuck at home and no one can travel, this meal is going to give you more of a curry Indian taste. And I really wanted to do this because I miss eating meals that make me feel like I'm going on an adventure, and that I'm an adventurous eater. And this meal I thought will be good for the weather. That's not just it's not in New Orleans. Mostly other people have more severe weather than us. So I thought this meal will speak to the cold weather and just being stuck wherever you are and not being able to travel. So this is a stew, but I wanted to present it as a Buddha bowl as well. So what we have is the eggplant and lentil stew. You have your roasted Brussels sprouts. I've also added an avocado, and we have quinoa. So I'll give you the ingredients and we'll talk more about it in a moment. But yes, try this recipe. And also guys, don't forget to subscribe and to like. I post every Tuesday. Now I don't do cooking segments every week. I switch up. I do skin. I do my life on a bicycle. I do styling haul. I do self-care. And also someone suggested that I should start doing exercise videos. So I am going to include that as well, because again, this channel is about being motivated. And being motivated after 50 years old is about movement. So I do think that's very important that I include that in my channel, because I want to make sure we stay active, we eat healthy, and we just enjoy our lives. And in order to do that, you need to be mobile. So I will check back in with you and we'll get into cooking this meal.